dimming. It's supposed to be the... How about now? It's supposed to be on.
Okay. So is it showing you have Wi-Fi?
Sorry?
Do you have Wi-Fi?
Yes, yes. I have Wi-Fi and it's supposed to be online now.
Okay.
You let me know. It says excellent connection. I don't know about that.
All right. Hang on.
Yeah. You try it. You have to try another. Yeah.
There you are. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
All right. You're
Okay.
back. Hi.
Okay. Where was I? No.
You were saying that we should resolve to do better.
Okay.
Okay. Where was I? No.
Okay. Sorry about that. The internet, I have been experiencing some interruption for the past few days. So now I have two windows here. Let's see. Okay, so where was I? So I think I was talking about, when we do this contemplation, so whatever the result, whatever grade you give yourself, but grade is not that important. But the main thing is to make a stronger determination, make a stronger resolve to do better, because we still have the opportunity. We are still alive. So it's not too late. Even it is late, better than doing nothing, isn't it? Better late than never or something, isn't it? So why I do this exercise is that I believe this helps us in reminding that it is important to apply this understanding. It serves as a reminder. We have studied so many texts. We have taken so many notes. But if somebody asks us, how long have you been a Buddhist? Some of us would very proudly say that I have been a Buddhist a long time. Or some may even say that I have been Buddhist my whole life. Some of you have been Buddhist for the last maybe 20, 30 years. And then the next question, what have you studied? Or many of us can cite so many texts. I have listened to this teaching, I have studied this, I know that. And then the third question, how did it help you? What kind of transformation all this has brought to us? And then we were like, It's difficult for many of us. So this shows that we left everything at the intellectual level. It has become kind of a routine, our habit to attend teachings And then while in the session, yeah, if the teacher is articulate and convincing and the presentation is good, you get a bit of impressed. And then you think, okay, yeah, that makes sense, that's it. And then when it is over, you close your notebook. That's it. No difference. Since the beginning of attending the class, teachings, you are the same person. There is not even a slightest change in your personality, in your habit. You are the same old egoistic person. You are the same short-tempered person. Then it didn't help, isn't it? You have lost the whole purpose. So it is important to really try our best to apply what little we know. It doesn't matter. You don't need to know so much. You don't need to get a profound understanding. Sometimes we were so obsessed at just understanding, and then we lost track. We kind of derail. We stuck at just understanding this and this and this, and we forget to do the practice part. So when I remind you to apply these Dharma understandings in your life, I say with a bit of discomfort. I always say that it is not comfortable for me to really stress on this, even though it is really important. It's the main reason is because I know myself. I am no better than you. I know that I also lack in practice, in application. But I am trying. And I know you are also trying. So together, we can journey, or we can journey together. We can be each other's inspiration. We can be each other's encouragement. We can be each other's pillar of support. We can be each other's shoulder to lean on. So that's why, even though it is not comfortable for me to pound on this point, but I feel that some of you may find it useful. Some of you may laugh at what I'm saying. And sometimes I ask myself, who am I kidding? I know myself. But then I see merit, even if one person finds it useful. Because of my reminder, if even one person becomes mindful, even for one day, I feel that that serves the purpose. That overweighs my discomfort. So that's why I try to stress on this. And as I mentioned before, yeah, I'm not saying as I have done all this, I have realized this and that. No, we are same. But we will together we will travel the spiritual journey. So what I'm saying here is, let's make a strong determination. We have already come towards the end of this text. So let's make a strong determination that whatever we hear, whatever we understand, we will try our best. We will be mindful. Every morning we will make the mindset to do virtue, to engage in the practice of restraining ourselves from non-virtue and engage in virtue as much as possible. So let's do that now. Let's spend 1 minute just what you call engendering that strong determination. Okay? And also it is important to make prayers. May I be able to succeed or carry out what I have resolved to do. May Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha and my Guru bless me to succeed in this endeavor. It's always helpful to do that. Okay, with that, we will now dive into where we stopped in our last session. So we have now come to the final practice, the 37th practice, which is dedication. Dedication is so important. Normally we say that there are two important tasks whenever we do practice. The first one is motivation, which comes in the beginning of any practice, and then the dedication, which comes at the end of any practice. So I normally liken these two to how we make money, how our attitude towards money. So first, we will look for ways to make as much money as possible. For instance, when we look for a job, we will try to get a job that is easy but pays well. For most of us, it is like the high pay is the criteria. We want a job that pays you well, that provides lots of other benefits. But we also want to minimize hours if it is possible. So in short, we wanted to spend less but earn more. And then once we have earned the money, we will try to roll that money. We will find ways to roll that money, multiply that money. We will not just leave it unsafe, unsecured. We will put in a bank. Also bank, we will first investigate which bank is the safest. If we know that the bank is not, that particular bank is not safe, we wouldn't put our money there. We will find a bank that is safe, and then, if possible, that pays a higher interest. If you have a loose cash, we will also try to put that into fixed deposits where we can earn a bit more. But in America, interest is really no interest. But in India, in other countries, the interest rate is good. So we always look for the highest interest paying banks. So that's how we do with our money. So it's same here. When it comes to amassing merit, wholesome deeds, or virtue, or positive karma, we want to find a way by which we can accumulate or amass so much merit, but without putting that much effort, without much hardship. So there are ways, which is doing everything, every practice with the Bodhicitta mindset. So that we have already discussed. Here we are going to focus on the dedication. So the way we try to roll our money and the way we secure our wealth, we want to do the same with our virtue as well. Remember, we know that anger destroys. Just an instant of anger destroys the merits that we have accumulated over eons. And how often do we get angry? Especially those who have teenagers, who have kids. We get angry all the time. You wanted your children to do something, but the children wants to do something else. And then you get angry. You lose your cool. That happens quite often. So imagine if we have not put our virtue in a secured place, anger will always get to it. So the one way to secure our merit, our virtue, is through dedication. Some of us, we dedicate our merit for some trivial purpose, like this life's goal. From the merit I have achieved, may I have good health. May I live long. May I be successful in my job. May I acquire lots of wealth and money. May my children be successful in their career, in their job, in their academic performances. So, dedicating our merit to the goals of this life is like you are paying a chunk of diamond just to buy some, maybe, toffees. If somebody did that, what would people think of that person? Everybody will consider that person unwise, very stupid. That this piece of diamond can be used for so much greater things, but you just exchange that with just a handful of sweets. So that's exactly what we have been doing when we dedicate our merits for this life's purposes. So minimum we should be dedicating our merits for the future life. The best is to dedicate to achieve enlightenment. So this is what it is about. Chidar gyalse chena chudelo gyalse mese bado de mese. Deshin chanju yongwe kewayang chanju mato bado de mese. I have quoted this and explained this before. If we are to drop a drop of water, if we are to pour, or I don't know, drop a drop of water on the dry surface, instantly it will dry. Whereas if we are to pour that same drop of water into the ocean, that drop of water will remain until the ocean dries up. Likewise, any merit that we dedicate towards achieving enlightenment will remain, will never be destroyed by anger until we achieve enlightenment. So how wonderful that is. That would be the safest lock or world, safest world in the whole universe. No one can open it. No brilliant thief can unlock that vault. No anger, no amount, not any amount of anger can destroy that, can steal that. So why not employ that? Why not use that? So the final verse is all about that, because the past, all that 36 practices is all about doing virtue. So now that we have accumulated all that virtue, if we fail to dedicate properly, then all that will be lost. So that's why this is so important. No matter how long or how brief we practice, we must make sure that we dedicate our merit correctly. So let's see what it says. Tedar zumbe drube gewanam taye drube tunyin sejechir kosun nabar tangwe sherabki chanju ngowa kese langlenyins. To remove the sufferings of limitless beings, understand the purity of the three spheres, dedicate the virtue from making such effort to enlightenment. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. So because this is the practice of Bodhisattva, we dedicate everything. Our every action revolves around benefiting sentient beings. Our physical, our verbal, our mental, any actions of the three doors revolves around benefiting sentient beings. So the dedication is also for the purpose of benefiting sentient beings. So it says that we should dedicate our merits towards removing the sufferings of countless beings. Understanding the purity, how? With the wisdom, realizing or having some understanding of the inherent nature of what is called the three spheres, the inherent, non-inherent, non-inherent existence of the three spheres, the non-inherent existence of the dedicator, the act of dedication, and the recipient of the dedication. So the person, we are the one dedicating. I am dedicating. So where is I? When you really search, even though it appears that there is some solid I there, but if there is an independent or solid I, if you analyze that, if you search, we will be able to find something to point to. But we cannot. There isn't a solid entity there. So the dedicator is also devoid of inherent existence. Likewise, what we are dedicating, the merit itself, we give the label to certain conditions, certain group of, I don't know, the parts or conditions or something, then we call that particular action virtue. So in reality, there is no independent nature. Likewise, the limitless, the countless sentient beings, if you really search for their true identity, there isn't. There is none. So with that kind of understanding, complemented by the wisdom realizing the three spheres, or the non-inherent existence of these three things, then we dedicate our merits to become whatever merit we have accumulated, to become the causes and conditions to achieve enlightenment, to become Buddha, become the cause and causes to achieve enlightenment. It's as simple as that. So that's the final practice. And then the next one is what is called the Epilogue. For some reason, I have these two screens, so it is a bit hard to read. And I dare not touch anything, otherwise we will be in trouble. So now the epilogue is after that. So doju tenju namle sungbe tun tamba namje sungi jedane keze namje lalen sumju tun keze lamla lobdu tun do goes. So this is about how this teaching came about, the reason behind why did Gyalse Tokme Zangpo compose this. So it says, for all who want to train on the Bodhisattva path, I have written the 37 practices of Bodhisattvas, following what has been said by excellent ones on the meaning of the sutras, tantras, and treatises. So basically, Gyalse Tokme Zangpo is saying here that whatever I have composed here is not a self-created, self-made. All these are taught by Buddha and also by the Buddha's followers, especially the Kadamba masters. So these are well reflected in the many texts, in sutras, as well as the commentaries by Indian scholars as well as Tibetan scholars. So it is not something that Gyalse Tokme Zangpo made up. Tamba namji sungi jedane Gyalse namji. So for whose purpose did he compose this? He was saying that Gyalse namji lalin tamba namji sungi jedane Gyalse namji lalin sumju tuen Gyalse lamla lobdu tuandu kuyos. Those who are interested to practice the what do you call practices of Bodhisattva, those who are following the Bodhisattva path. So they need to know what are the practices. So it says, following what has been said by excellent ones on the meaning of the Sutra Tantra, I have written that there is the Bodhisattvas for all who want to train, those people who want to train, who are interested in training oneself into the Bodhisattva's path. That's the purpose. Then, Lodru mentions Zangpo Chungwechir, Keban Yebe, Tebjur Machi Yang, Dodang Tambe, Sungla Tembechir, Gyalse Lalin, Chume Labar Sams. Though not poetically pleasing to scholars, owing to my poor intelligence and lack of learning, I have relied on the sutras and words of the excellent. So I think these Bodhisattva practices are without error. So though they are great scholars, so this is where the great practitioners, they always show or display humility. Of course, they are great beings. They are highly realized beings. And especially like Gyalse Tokme Zangpo. He has studied, he is a renowned scholar, not only renowned practitioner, but a great scholar. He has spent years studying, and he has many students whom he taught the important, the classic texts. So, but as in the 8 verses practice, you always, humble yourself. One should be modest about one's knowledge and realizations and understandings. So this is the display of humility. He's saying that in terms of poetry skill, I may not be able to please all the great scholars. There are so many great scholars, especially those who are very expert in poetry. So I may not be able to please those. But what I have written here is pure, unstained, unmistaken practices of Bodhisattva. I have relied because whatever I have written here is not self-created. I have relied on sutras and the words of great practitioners, the words of excellence. So I think, he said, I believe these are pure practices. In terms of the practices themselves, he's saying that these are the correct ones. Wenjang kese choba labo che lome tate tingbo kawe shir geda mate laso nyebe so tamba namje soba zado so. I think this is more of a humility section. However, as the great deeds of Bodhisattvas are hard to fathom for one of my poor intelligence, I beg the excellence to forgive all faults such as contradictions and sequels? Sequiturs or something. So this is saying that even though these are the correct practices, when it comes to the actual practices, I think that, I didn't make any mistakes. But then the practice, when it comes to the sphere of the Bodhisattvas practices, it is too vast and too profound. So with my poor intelligence, I may not have been able to fathom all that profound practices, and thereby I may have made any mistakes. But if there were any mistakes committed by me, then he said, I seek forgiveness for any contradictions, or if there are, in terms of sequence, there are some mistakes. So this is the, what you call, the quality of great beings. They are never shy or embarrassed to admit or even to apologize. For many of us, what you call, asking for forgiveness, offering apology is such a big deal, because we have such a huge ego. We somehow have this notion that I am incapable of making mistakes. Whatever I did, whatever I said is right. But whereas, when it comes to great beings, they are always willing to admit. In this case, I don't think there is any mistakes, but still, if there are others who feel or who view that there is a mistake, there is fault, there's error, then it says that I am apologizing in advance. So we should learn from this. If we really made a mistake, we should accept that. We should admit that. We should apologize that. That's the right thing to do. And we are able to do that, our relations will improve. When you really examine some squabble or some argument, trivial argument, it's all about, you see, I'm right. What I say goes. So that's the problem, isn't it? But if we are able to kind of fall back and examine, and then if you really find that you have made a mistake, be honest, and that will repair the damage. That will repair the relationship. So then the dedication. So now Gyalse Tokme Zangpo is dedicating his merit accumulated from composing this. Tele chungwe kewen rowagun tuandam kunzo chanju semjogi sidan shiwe tala minebar chenre siwan tedan sungbar shos. Through the virtue from this, may all living beings gain the ultimate and conventional bodhicittas, and thereby become like the protector Chenresi, who dwells in neither extreme, not in the world, nor in peace. So it's like dedicating the merits to become the causes and conditions for every living being to achieve the attainment that the Chenresi achieved. It's like dedicating that all beings become like Chenresi. So therefore, like the protector Chenresi, who dwells in neither extreme, nor the world, nor peace. So here we are talking about two extremes. So one extreme is that you become attached to nirvana, that serenity, that peace, so you no longer want to pursue enlightenment. And another extreme is you get stuck in samsara, where we go through this circle of suffering. So these are the two extremes. So the countering antidote to these two extremes are the two conventional, two bodhicitta, the conventional bodhicitta and the ultimate bodhicitta. The ultimate bodhicitta is the wisdom realizing emptiness. So even though it is, we say the bodhicitta, it is actually the wisdom that realizes the empty nature of things. So in order to sever the ties to samsara, bodhicitta alone cannot do. The actual antidote is the wisdom realizing emptiness, because it's the self-grasping that tie us to samsara. So we need to achieve the countering, that contrasting wisdom which sees the selflessness of a person or phenomena. So in this case, is the wisdom realizing emptiness. So with that, we can cut the root of samsara and thereby achieve nirvana. But what makes us not to get stuck in nirvana and to pursue enlightenment is the conventional bodhicitta. With bodhicitta, then we want to pursue, because bodhicitta's main goal is to liberate sentient beings, provide lasting happiness to all sentient beings. That we can do only upon becoming Buddha. So that's why we need the two. So here, Gyalse Tokme Zangpo is dedicating his merit to achieving all sentient beings, achieving the two bodhicittas, so that they can become like Gyalse. Okay, so that's conclude the 37 practices. So it says, this was written for his own and others' benefit by the monk Tokme, an exponent of scripture and reasoning, in a cave in Nguchi Rinchen. So I wanted to show you this. Where is this? Is the cave where Gyalse Tokme Zangpo meditated for over 30 years, and where this 37 practices of Bodhisattvas was composed. Can you see? Okay, let me just play it. Of course, now people have identified this as Gyalse Tokme Zangpo's meditation cave, and that's why they made it look nice. But when Gyalse Tokme Zangpo was there, I don't think it looked that pretty and nice. So imagine how tough it must be. In Tibet is cold weather, and we know what cold weather does to us. And Gyalse Tokme Zangpo had no heater. It's just a cave. And he spent over 30 years, if I'm not mistaken, 32 years doing meditation. Here we have all the comfort. Outside it's snowing, but inside we can walk in our shorts. One time when I was in my old apartment, the apartment has an indoor pool. So I went for a swim, and it was snowing outside. And I was like, wow. It was snowing outside, people are freezing, and I'm swimming. So we have that kind of luxury. We have that kind of facility, that kind of comfort. So what excuse do we have not to practice? Like Gyalse Tokme Zangpo, in a bare cave, if he could spend over 30 years, we could at least spend 1 or 2 hours every day in our comfy place, don't we? So whenever we are challenged, whenever an excuse comes to our minds, I think it may be helpful to remind us of Gyalse Tokme Zangpo and many others, like Lama Adisha, just to receive instructions, just to receive teachings. He took that long journey. Those days, there was no flight. Either walk or go by boat. I think Lama Adisha took, 6 months by boat just to reach Indonesia to meet his teacher, Lama Selingpa. And then he was there for a long time, for many years, just receiving that instruction on the exchanging oneself with others. So we should feel ashamed, isn't it? We give all kinds of excuses. So I thought that maybe we can kind of remind ourselves, we can wake ourselves, we can give a kind of a, what do you call, nudge or a knuckle to wake us up. So that's it. And we have one more class. Maybe in the last class I will try to do a summary of the 37 practices of the Bodhisattva, kind of a recap. And then we are done for the year. Okay. Thank you. And please try your best. And at least have something that, I studied the 37 practices of the Bodhisattva, and this is what I did, and this is the transformation I was able to go through. So we have all the facilities. We have all the, we are what we call the conducive condition. So it is just our will, our determination. If we decide to do, then it is possible. If we fail to will it, then nothing will happen. Remember, if there is a will, there is a way. Okay, all the best, and let's dedicate our merit. Tage jinye zabe jawa de dendan dowa gunla kangben da kebara chizun losan tawa ye tembe nyingbo ringdo seje sho jambe babu chedara kemba da kundo sambo tenyang tejendo Teta Gwingi Jesu Talo Je Gyawa Deda Tamje Rabdo Ngo Tuzon Shekwe Gyawa Tamje Je Ngowa Kangla Chokdo Ngaba De Tage Gewe Zawa Dibun Jang Sangpo Chuchi Rabdo Ngowa Kis. Thank you.